And the reason why that is really important to remember is because one of the worst enemies of teenagers is being isolated, when they feel alone. You know, so a kid who's been rejected from the peer group, or somebody who's dealing with issues around sexual orientation and feels different, when they have nobody who understands them, and nobody who can empathize with their plight, then they're isolated. And when they're isolated, they're alone, and they're cognitively not mature enough or ready enough to make important decisions or to work through that issue. So all that is by way of prelude to say when I'm dealing with kids who are presenting to me, and believe me, sometimes they present me stories that just they knock my socks off. Sometimes, I mean, my sheltered upbringing is no match for some of these 15 and 16-year-olds that I meet. But I don't feel that I have to have experienced what they've experienced, or I have to have done what they've done. All I have to know is what normal development is like, and then recognize that my task is to help them get back on that track. Okay. So let's just talk about what adolescent sexuality is. Can anybody offer a definition? Like, what do you think about just word associate when I talk about adolescent sexuality? What are we saying?
Experimenting with it.
Okay. Experimentation.
Image.
Okay. So in terms of like status, like how many notches on the belt?
Well, how much makeup they're wearing, or how they're dressing.
Okay. Okay. So to make themselves attractive,
Yeah.
Attractive to be
I guess.
a partner. Sure.
Curiosity.
Curiosity. So what's this stuff all about? Yeah.
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure, and peer pressure to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. For sure. And oftentimes with the wrong information about what everybody else is in fact doing, right? Where do they get that wrong information?
The media.
What's that?
The media.
The media, you bet. And the media really bothers me a lot, okay, in terms of that. But you know what? Who creates the media? You know? Who uses sex to sell cars and clothes and beer and whatever? It's us, you know. We do that stuff. And we often talk about peer pressure, but we've created a media environment
the business magnets of it.
Yeah. Whatever their motivation, usually it's money, but for sure. And so our kids are a little bit stuck in a society that has multiple messaging, shall we say. So what are we saying? Curiosity, experimentation, all of those things, those are pretty good things, aren't they? They're important, would you say? I mean, it's important to be curious, it's important to experiment. How else do you grow if you don't do these things, right? So does that mean that, would you say that when you think of adolescent sexuality, if I just sort of throw the word at you, is that a good thing or is it not a good thing?
No, it's a good. But there also exploitative aspect of sexual youth.
Okay.
Sexuality.
Like what?
There's all kinds of prostitutions.
Right.
Drugs.
Okay. Fair enough. So is adolescent sexuality and prostitution and sexual exploitation, I agree 100%. Are they in the same package? What do you say? Hopefully not. Okay. What's the difference? Like we put them together in the same package, don't we? Like when if you think of the media, you know, with teen sex always is teen pregnancy or young girls prostituting or whatever. Why do we mix those things together?
It's the downside.
Downside of what?
It's well, as a parent, it's the downside.
Yeah.
It's the bad things that happen to my kid.
Right. Okay. So then, do we think that adolescent sexuality should be abolished? Why not?
They have to learn sometime.
Who knows what cornflakes? You know what cornflakes came from? You know what the origin of cornflakes is? It was to reduce sexual appetite. It was. And cornflakes. Yeah, that was cornflakes. Yeah. It didn't work. Breakfast of champions is the next step. But anyway, yeah. So why should we not try and abolish it? Wouldn't that be a great thing? I mean, in fact.
That's how you grew up, I'm sure.
All right, so now we're selfish. I mean, truth be told, there are some societies that do try and suppress illness as a child, don't they? I mean, there are many societies where dating is not allowed, and male-female issues
It's
are.
an acceptance.
Right.
You are in harmony with yourself.
Sexuality
Yeah,
is
because social mores dictate the terms.
perfect.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Pardon the colloquial language.
It's very appropriate for this.
Everybody.
Should we close the lights again?
Does that make it then fine for teenagers to go around having sex?
Well,
No,
no,
that doesn't make it fine. Can I share something?
Please.
I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old. And the 16-year-old has been warm from since she was 14. And there are no 14-year-old child in my house will be having sex. At dinner table, she says, I would like to have sex. I says, put some ice in your bosom. But I've had some really frank talks with her. She's 16 now, and she wants to have sex. And I'm saying to her, you are not going to have sex. I'm not going to be 24/7. This is no time for sex, I say to her. This is time for your school book and education. Keep your head upright. Keep your head above water. When I'm married with old age that I'm going on, you need to be able to have an education, a good job, and a house. And when you're ready for a man, a good man who could respect you. And this is the message I'm giving them. And I'm there. Went to the doctor's money for an annual. The doctor says she went across the camp for the past 6 weeks, meet this 8-year-old guy bigger than her, and had sex. I'm trying to blow my mind. Oh, I didn't. I said, I born this morning, I didn't born this morning. So she took a chance. But I said, I'm all over your face. You ain't going anywhere anymore. And I'm sorry. The political is coming to me to tell her out. She ain't going anywhere. She's going to be into her book. So the doctor says to me, okay, so you want to put her on the pill. I said, she ain't getting anything. She's going to have to keep her leg closed.
Okay. So, well, there aren't two extremes, and I think this is really helpful because the issue is, do we live? I mean, parents are stuck, right? Do we live in a society that's sort of permissive, and whatever, as let me speak to you about an example that I had many years ago. When there was a 14-year-old girl who came to the clinic, and she was very, very distraught. And why was she distraught? Because she had lost her virginity. And she had planned to not lose her virginity until she was 17. Okay, that was her target. I mean, 17 when you're 14, it seems like forever, right? But lo and behold, she lost her virginity at age 14, and she had a very close relationship with her mom, and she didn't know what to do, and she wanted to tell her mom, but she sort of felt embarrassed to tell her mom, or whatever. Anyway, time passed, and she did tell her mother. She said, "Mom, here's what happened." And what did her mom say?
Going for an abortion.
No, she didn't get pregnant.
No.
Yeah. What did mom say?
Well, she either freaked out or she was calm and thought to her.
Mom said, as long as it was true love. Right? Yeah. So what did the girl do? Pardon?
She should get married.
No, she didn't marry.
Well,
She went on to have more sex, right?
Right.
Until her mother finally said, "That's enough, You're not doing this anymore." And it's because the girl needed the mom to help her establish the values. So within a society that, again, every second television program or commercial involves sexual behavior for younger and younger kids, I might add, children who are being dressed up to look like teenagers and are in all kinds of provocative poses. So parents are stuck with that, are stuck in that, and the kids need the boundary, they need the structure. So I think it's a strong parental message saying, here's our values, here's what we believe, actually is helpful to the kid, because it allows them to blame it on their parents. Well, the reason I'm not is because of them. What do they know? But in the end, they don't find themselves necessarily in positions that they're not, or in situations that they're not ready to handle. Right? So I think it's actually very important for families to be quite clear about what their value system